Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Weather Sim forecast. And in today's forecast, we're going to be talking about a big storm that's going to be coming to the United States over the next few days. And this is going to bring some decent impacts, as not only are we going to continue to see chances for more severe weather over the next couple of days, including today, where damaging winds, large hail, and even a few isolated tornadoes will all be possible. But once we head into next week, this is when things start to get a little bit more interesting. We're going to start seeing a completely different weather pattern compared to what we're doing with right now. What we're doing with right now is kind of a omega block pattern where areas like the Midwest, Ohio Valley stay dry, and the main focus is down there towards the southeast. But once we get into next week, though, this is when areas like the Ohio Valley, Midwest, Southern Plains, and Deep South could all be experiencing severe weather, as that looks to potentially even be the worst part of severe weather season. So we will let you guys know about what to expect over the next couple of days, and even as we get into next week, as once again, this really looks to be a pretty big pattern, especially once we start entering next week, where we could be talking about widespread significant severe weather across a pretty large part of much of the country. So make sure to stay tuned till the end so that you guys know what to expect for the next 7 to 10 days. Let's first start off by going over what to expect for today, and you guys can see that we do have a slight risk level 2 out of 5 threat for severe weather across areas of the East Coast, especially parts there of North Carolina, right around those coastal areas, and we even have another slight risk level 2 out of 5 threat down here towards the eastern part of Florida. So we will need to keep an eye on both of those areas very closely, as this does include populated cities like Jacksonville down there towards Orlando, even Melbourne. You guys are going to be under the gun for severe weather once again. And main concerns for today is not only going to be the chances for a few isolated spin-up tornadoes, which cannot be ruled out, but I would say more of damaging winds and large hail will be the two other concerns, as these really look to once again bring chances for damaging winds, large hail, and once again even a few isolated spin-up tornadoes will all be possible today. So I do recommend taking today a little seriously, especially if you live over there from the Carolinas down there in the Georgia and as well as Florida, as damaging winds, large hail, and a few isolated tornadoes will all be possible. But once we get into tomorrow, however, this is when things start to get a little more interesting, since we're not going to be dealing with really a whole lot of severe weather. It looks like our main focus for tomorrow will still be across Florida, but I would say more so up here across the northern Rocky Mountains, where we got a chance for, potentially some severe weather. You can see that up there across the Rocky Mountains for tomorrow, we got a chance for large hail. We got a threat for maybe an isolated spin-up tornado or two down here towards Florida, and we even got a chance for some damaging winds. So damaging winds and large hail will be the main concerns up there towards areas like Montana, but areas down there in Florida, however, will have all hazards in play, including a threat for some large hail, so we will need to keep an eye on that very closely, as I do think tomorrow could also be another big day too as well. And if we look into the future, as of right now, Storm Prediction Center does not have any threat of severe weather for the next 7 days, but you guys can see that when we do look out into the future, especially as we get into next week, this is when we're going to really start seeing our patterns start ramping up, and this is when, once again, we could really start seeing those chances for severe weather. As of right now, Colorado State University shows a little bit of a quieter pattern as we head into the first few days of next week, with only very small areas of maybe some severe weather, but I would say it's more going to be Wednesday through Friday of next week where we really start to see those chances for severe weather really start to ramp up. Now, as of right now, it looks like we may once again get a little bit of severe weather Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday next week, but once again, they only include a small area and they're very marginal overall. So the days that I would be keeping an eye on is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week, as we already got that slight risk for severe weather across all those areas, and some of the slight risk even stays across some of the same areas, especially areas like Illinois and Indiana. You guys might see severe weather for, maybe a few days or so. So something to really keep an eye on there once we get into next week. Obviously, things can still change, but once again, it is something to watch for since we are in the time of year where we can start seeing more significant severe weather and also more widespread severe weather since we have more energy to work with in general. If we also look at why we are seeing severe weather, you guys can see that we are once again really seeing that energy surge on in from the Gulf, still continuing to bring some chances for severe weather across the south and southeast as we head into the next couple of days, including today, before once again we see that huge pattern change once we get into next week. And here's what it looks like when we go to the jet stream. You guys can see that for right now, we're kind of dealing with that omega block pattern where we start to see chances for rain and even some thunderstorms across areas of the East Coast back down there into the south and southeast. But after that heads out, look at our jet. Once we get past Thursday next week, guys, our low level jet is gonna be cranking. Look at this, guys. Just continuous rounds of storms will be possible, and look at that, just storm after storm after storm just rolling on through the United States, just bringing continuous chances for severe weather once again. So we obviously should watch this very closely, as I do think some of these jet streams could really bring chances for tornadoes. So I would recommend you guys watching it, as once again this is already looking very concerning, as we're going to have plenty of moisture and energy to work with. You guys can see that some days next week we could have over 3,000 joules per kilogram, and I even expect more of those even as we get into the week after. So I do recommend you guys watching this, as even the European model, for example, is really cranking in a lot of energy. Look at that. European model shows over 5,000 joules per kilogram of unstable energy. That is enough to really cause some high chances for severe weather, and you guys can see how that just continues even as we get into the week after once again. And then after that, we may be in a little bit of a quieter pattern once again, but I just expect that severe weather chance to just continue over the next couple of weeks from what we're seeing. So make sure you guys are all prepared for this, as this is already looking like it could be a big one out there, with not only areas of energy but also lots of moisture to work with. We're going to be seeing 70-degree dew points across much of the eastern and central United States, along with plenty of wind shear, which is all enough to cause potentially even a few tornado outbreaks as we get into the end of next week and maybe even the week after, especially if this pattern continues to look concerning. If we also take a look at flooding is once again going to be another concern as we get into the next few weeks, and right now we're only looking out till the end of next week, and you guys can see that from now all the way till the end of next week we will be seeing chances for some flooding down here across the south and southeast, as anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall is possible across the Carolinas, down there in the Georgia, Florida, Alabama, even over there towards Mississippi, while areas in the central United States barely even seeing a drop of rainfall, especially if you live in Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and even a pretty large part of Texas. But you guys should hopefully get back on the rainfall once we get into the end of next week, and like I said, even the week after, where we really start to see that severe weather pattern start to kick on in, and we even got some rainfall that could even unfold across areas up here across Montana, Wyoming, and even Idaho, where we could once again be talking about some flooding. I don't expect it to be significant, but we still once again got to watch that, as rainfall totals between 1 to 2 inches will also be possible up there. And you guys can see that over the next few days we just continuously see chances for flash flooding, especially across the south and southeast, back up there into the northeast, where we will have chances for showers and even thunderstorms. And it looks like the biggest days for flooding will be on Sunday next week, which will be to start, Monday next week, and as well as into Tuesday of next week, before all our area starts to shift more off to the west across areas of the Ohio Valley, Midwest, Upper Midwest, and Plains. And once again, with our pattern change, we could really be talking about severe weather over a large area, so we hope you guys are watching the weather very closely. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we'll continue to keep you guys up to date with the latest, and make sure to turn on all notifications for if and when we do go live on this channel, and make sure to also consider leaving a like too as well. Those really help out a lot, and if you find this video informative, go ahead and do that. We really appreciate your guys' support, and we do hope we can reach 2,000 subscribers before the summer. If not, that would be a little bit disappointing, but I hope we can get there, guys. So consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.